Are y'all having fun? Thank you so much for all of the nice things that you've said to me over lunch, and for buying my books, putting a new roof on the cabin, you know. Did I tell you that already? So thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. When you come to visit, you'll see a nice new green metal roof, so you can say, oh, yeah, I have to pay for that. Okay, we're going to talk about, what I'm going to do is spend the rest of the time talking about rulers, and if I have a little bit of time left, I'll show you some embroidery stuff that I have. We're doing Zentangle tomorrow, okay? And if you're not, let me give you just a little prequel on the Zentangle. A few people asked me, is there room tomorrow? Janice said, if you want to come tomorrow, she'll make room for you, okay? And the other thing is, Zentangle is a drawing process. All right? It's normally taught on paper. I teach it on fabric. Okay? That's the difference. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to incorporate your embroidery designs with Zentangle. We're going to stitch up some embroidery designs. We're actually going to use some of the features on the Destiny. I'm going to show you how to take a design that I drew. We're going to let the sewing machine scan it and stitch it out without the use of digitizing software. Okay, which oh my is the right. This is why I say this machine has made all of the other companies go, what? That sewing machine digitizes? Because nobody else does that. Okay, this is just an amazing advancement in sewing. This sewing machine is going to change the way other embroidery machines work. You know, it's guess.
Is it also with the Lissimo?
No. Do you have an Elissimo? We can give you a nice trade-in on that beautiful Elissimo.
No.
Although I got to tell you, I'm not getting rid of my Elissimo. It's a beautiful machine. And when this is doing all this digitizing and stitching, I can be sewing on my Elissimo. They're so quiet, aren't they? No, the machine's quiet. Anyway, so we're going to do Zentangle tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all, when you come in tomorrow, I'm going to give you all a pencil and a tile, which is a paper tile, which is how we start out. If you want to draw along with me, I'm going to move a little fast, but if you want to draw along with me, bring a sketchbook with you if you want to, or bring some paper. If you want to draw on fabric, you can bring some fabric with you. Bring a lap board. One of the things that we draw on, and what I recommend if you've ever drawn on fabric, you know what happens. The fabric skates around. I use a drawing mat. This is a Zentangle mat, and it's real sticky. Can't even pull it out. It's so sticky. Okay? This is a sticky mat, and this is what we use to do Zentangle. So I'll pass this around so you can look at it. If you want to do Zentangle tomorrow and you want to draw along with me, you might want to bring like a little lap board to put this on and get one of these and get some pens. The pens that we use to draw on fabric are these right here, the Identi pens, okay? And there's gray pens somewhere. I don't know where they put them. There's gray pens. I don't see them, but there were some loose gray pens I know we sent with this order, and we use the gray pens for shading. We'll have to ask where they put them because they're not on the wall. They're sitting up by the register? Okay. They're probably sitting up by the register. Okay. So we use the Identi pens for drawing and the gray Fabrico for shading. So if that's something that you want to draw along with us tomorrow, you can go ahead. Like I said, I'm going to move a little fast because I have a lot to show you, and I only have a little time, and I don't want to cut into Sue's time or lunchtime because, you know, lunch is important, right? Anyway, so that's what we're doing tomorrow. All right, so this afternoon, we're going to work with some rulers. I call this part sewing rules. You're like, yeah, sewing rules, yeah. I just, you know, there are people who don't sew. Did you know that? We were going on vacation a couple years ago. We were going on vacation. Yes. Did you find the pens?
All the pens that were moved.
Yeah. They're at the register. The far register. They've got the gray caps. Anyway, we were going on vacation to Hawaii 2 years ago last Christmas, and I was packing for my trip, and my husband comes in and he looks at my suitcase on the floor, you know, open with my stuff I'm packing, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm packing for Hawaii." He goes, "You know, honey, some people go on a vacation and don't bring a sewing machine with them." I said, "Not anybody I know." So I went to Hawaii with, you know, I went with a suitcase full of fabric and a sewing machine in the suitcase. I checked it. I have a travel sewing machine that I travel with, and I just put it in my suitcase with my fabric around it to pat it and just checked it. It's gone. Okay. So when I get to Hawaii, we're staying with my best friend, the one that wrote the Zentangle books. We're staying with her. Her sister has a house in Hana. Now, has anyone ever been to Hana?
Yes.
What is there to do in Hana? Nothing.
Enjoy the rain.
Huh?
Enjoy the rain.
Enjoy the rain. Hana is in the rainforest. It's like there's that drive to Hana that everybody wants to take, and when you get there, you go, I spent 4 hours in the car for this? There's nothing there. But it's absolutely beautiful, and so we stayed in this house that was on this fruit and flower farm in Hana, and it was like being in a tree house. It was absolutely wonderful for 2 weeks. I didn't have anything to do but sew. There was no internet, no cell phone, and they did have a landline phone that I could call and check in with my officers. If there was an emergency, they could get a hold of us. But it was great because I could sew uninterrupted. So my goal was to go and just develop some patterns and write some magazine articles and kind of just, work uninterrupted, which I did. And, it rained in the morning, so I sewed in the morning, and then in the afternoon we would go on a little day trip. My husband and Becca's husband would go in the yard to the orchard, and they'd pick fruit and flowers, and they'd bring stuff in, and Becca and I would make pomegranate martinis and passion fruit martinis and lemon ginger martinis. So anyway, so my goal was to make this apron pattern, and I know it's here somewhere because it's over here. Actually, it's part of my ruler thing. So I was making this apron pattern, and this pattern is, it's the one above it right now, the one with that one. That's the first one I want to show. So I was making this apron pattern, and so this is my apron pattern, and the model on the apron pattern is my daughter. Yeah, she was not happy modeling. She doesn't have her contacts in her. She didn't have any makeup on, but I just thought she looks so sweet. So this is my little apron pattern, okay? So the hem, isn't this cute? And it's reversible. Okay? So, okay, it's reversible. Yeah. Yep. And so actually the one I made, there you go. Side when you cook, side when you serve. And I'll pass that around with the pattern so they can see what the pattern looks like. This is the pattern. This is a really sweet. I think of this as like a hostess apron. When you have company coming over for dinner and stuff. Fancy pretty. Yeah. So I'm developing this apron, and I've got it made in Becca. I love Becca so much. She's like a sister to me. She's like a little sister. I love her so much. She said, "You're younger than me." We were in the same 6-person art program in this little Hodunk high school. Yeah. And here she is, this international speaker, and she's like, sold the world's best-selling art books in history. I'm so proud of her, so proud of her. Anyway, so she's real short. Not for me to say she's short, she's got to be really short, right? She's about 4'10", and she's very chesty. And so she said to me, when my mom was alive on the farm, my mom died when she was 13. She said, when my mom was alive, she had this apron that she used to wear, and I loved it so much. She said, and it didn't tie behind my neck because of being chesty. She doesn't like anything tied behind her neck. And she said, would you design an apron for me? And I had extra fabric with me. I said, here, sketch it out. Well, she's an artist, so she sketched it out, and I made it. So this is the apron that I made for Becca, which is the other pattern that Sue was going to pull. This is the pattern. So Becca got the prototype, but this is the actual pattern. Isn't that cute? It is, like your grandma's, because her mother, would have been, I would say her mother would have been probably 80 now. So it was an old style, an old farmhouse style. But it's reversible, and I've used the scallop ruler also on this one. So these are just different techniques that I've used the scallop ruler. Can you let's grab one of those patterns here. I use it for trim along the top. Yep. Right here, front and back. Okay, and then on the pockets. And this is, oops, I grabbed two. This is the reversible smock apron. Okay? Now, I've had a lot of people say to me, do you have this apron in a child-size pattern? And my comment is no, you don't need it in a child-size pattern if you have the proportional scale. If you have this tool, you do not need to buy a different size pattern. you can resize anything from a 1/2 inch up to 50 inches, up or down. Okay? So let's say that apron measures across the bottom 42 inches. And you want to make, give me the size of a smaller one you might want to make. Give me a measurement. 26. Who said 26? Oh, 36? Okay, 36 is good. Okay, 42 to 36. All right? Just a minute. I'm get my glasses out of here. I'm tangled up. So, I'm going to go over to the table over here so Mark can get this on the camera. Okay, so our original is 42. Can you see that? 42. Can you see that, ladies? We're going to roll this around to 42 lines up with 36. So there's 42. Line it up with 36. There it is. And now we know we need to take our pattern to our copier and reduce it by 86%. How cool is that? How many times when you're quilting do you take a quilt pattern that you want to use and you have to reduce it or enlarge it, and you keep making copies, right? You keep tweaking it. This way, one printout and you're done. Okay? One printout. So if you had a quilting design, let's say you had a quilting design that measures 7 inches, and you want to do a 12-inch block, so you want it to measure 11 inches. You would take 7, which is your original. You'd rotate it to 11. Line up the numbers and look at the arrow, and now you need to increase 159%. How easy is that? But there's more. I'm gluten intolerant, so I can't do anything with wheat in it. I'm actually gluten and corn intolerant, okay? So a while back, I wanted to make a recipe for banana bread, gluten-free banana bread. And the recipe called for 2.5 cups of rice flour, but I only had 1 cup. It was like I had white rice flour and brown rice flour, and I had tapioca flour, but it called for 2.5 cups of white rice flour, and I only had 1 cup. So I took the 2.5 cups that it called for, 2.5, and I lined it up with the 1, 2.5, lined it up with 1, okay? And then any of my other ingredients, whatever the line was, I just matched it up, and I was able to figure out all the other ingredients proportionately. Isn't that cool? I was like, whoa, this is cool. But it's great for resizing photographs, anything like that. So I'll pass that around so you can look at that. That's called the proportional scale. Should be on your list. Okay? Absolutely, can use it for a dress pattern. What you would do is you need to take your dress pattern and cut it. You have to tile it, like my patterns are tiled. And would you want to enlarge it or reduce it? Let's start with that. Enlarge it. Okay, so what you would do is you take your dress pattern, and depending on how much I want to enlarge it, I would probably cut it in like 6x9 rectangles. Okay? And then photocopy those and enlarge them to up to 8.5x11. You know, you don't want it to, you want to cut it small enough that when you enlarge it, it's going to go to the right size. But yeah, you can enlarge clothing patterns. Yep. What do you think? Isn't that cool? So, like, if you have a favorite outfit that you make and you want to make a matching one for your granddaughter, or if you have a little granddaughter and you want to make a matching dress for her doll, okay, you can do it just for that. Isn't that cool? All right, so, not really a ruler, but it kind of falls into what I'm doing. So, I'm going to show you how to use these scallop rulers. Okay? These scallop rulers were developed by my friend Janet Platt. These are made in the same factory in Wisconsin that my rulers are made. Yes, question? All right. When I saw these rulers, I was writing my Cheaper by the Dozen book. I was so excited I had a sewgasm. Another one. You know what a sewgasm is? It's when you get tingly, you sew and you get all tingly all over and get goosebumpy. Woo-hoo! Okay, so what you do, the directions are right on them, okay? The directions are right on the rulers, and what Janet did is she thought about all the problems that we have in making scallops. What are the pitfalls? They're not even. They pucker in between. The scallop itself is bumpy and lumpy, right? So she tried to target all of those problems. So this is her largest size of scallop. This is from my Cheaper by the Dozen. This is actually one of the embroidery designs in that Cheaper by the Dozen. By the way, if you wanted the template sets and we sold out, you will get the special packet. If you buy them today, the templates, the window treatment templates, because we sold out, we will still give you that little bundle of goodies with it. Okay, so don't feel like you've missed out on that. Okay, that's using the largest size. The apron uses the medium size, okay? The smock apron, you got some big girls there. but you can make it bigger by using that proportional scale.
I can't find it on your thing.
What, you can't find what?
54.
54. 54, but we have thousands of them at home, so we can send them, not a problem. Okay? So that uses the biggest size. This also uses the biggest size. The Sweetheart apron uses the medium size, okay, of the big set. The smaller size of the big set, here's one of Chrissy's jackets, and this uses the medium size, that 1 inch size. You know, when I started traveling with Chrissy, I started making her all these cute little clothes. And everybody said, oh, you should have a class on how to make dog clothes. You should have a pattern. So what I did was I developed a pattern, but this pattern, it's just a basic pattern. It's nothing fancy. It's in 19 sizes. That was the big part. It's getting it in 19 sizes. It's a basic, what I call a walking vest. So this is her walking vest. So I can walk her with this harness, okay? All right? And so, but what I did is I took that basic vest and I put scallops on it. And I took that basic vest. So this is the basic vest. I added scallops and a collar. Okay? Do you want to see this on her? Hey, wake up. Come out here for a second. She's like, I'm napping, Mom. Okay, so here she is. Of course. So now this is her little walking vest, okay? It's got a D-ring, so I can walk her with that, okay? Well, I've got more. Okay, so I took the same vest, and I added a couple little ruffles and a little cap and a little collar, so now we have a little Christmas dress. It's okay. It's okay. Mark, can you get her on camera? Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Here. Of course, every little girl needs a little black dress. She wore this on a runway in LA a couple years ago. And again, just the basic vest with a couple little ruffles on the bottom. Okay? She has a lot of, she has a wedding dress. She has, you know, with a little fascinator veil that she wears, you know, she's just, and this is her raincoat. Because it's still, I still use the harness. I just put a cape on it and a hood. And she's got a little wool coat somewhere, a red cape, but I don't know what happened to that. I don't know where it is. And this is her little raincoat. Give her a hand. Go back in. Go back in. Poor dog. Oh, here's her little red cape right here. This is her little red cape. I wear a wool cape in the wintertime when I travel because every place I go is usually warmer than where I'm coming from. So mostly I just wear like a nice heavy sweater and a wool cape. And Chrissy wears this. And so I made my daughter and I made us matching wool capes. And then with the leftovers I made this. And my daughter said, I want a hood for my cape. I'm like, I don't have any more fabric. And then she's like, because you made one for the dog, right? Do any of you have kids that are jealous of your dog? Yeah, she's a little jealous of the dog. Oh, so be nice to your little sister. Okay, so how do we use that scallop ruler? Okay, let's go back. You trace on both sides of the scallop ruler. Okay, when they go around, you'll notice that there's some holes in there. You mark those holes with dots. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I've got one here marked. I'll just put another piece here. Isn't Mark doing a great job back here? I can't see him, but he's kind of cute. Are you single? No, he's not single. Never mind. So what I did was I took one of the scallop rulers and I took one of the point rulers, okay, which is another one that Janet developed. And there's the 3/4 inch scallop ruler and the 1 inch point ruler actually line up together. And so you can do a trim that's half point and half scallop. So that's what I did. While Janice was talking, I sewed the scallop side, but I'm just going to show you here. When you sew, when you get to the top of the point, there's a dot, and you're going to stop at the dot. You're going to do 1 stitch across and down. And when you get to the bottom, there's another dot, and you go to the left of the dot, 1 stitch across, and then back up. And you want to sew, when I do the point ones, I do about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But when I do the scallops, I'll show you how I'm just going to sew like one little bit here. I know these two fabrics don't match. You don't have to tell me. Yeah, that's okay. When I do the scallop, this is how I sew it. I put the line right to the inside of my open toe, and I go down to the dot, stop, pivot 1 stitch over the dot, and then back up. And the nice thing about that automatic pivot feature is you can stop a little bit and then the foot lifts up. I was teaching a hands-on class yesterday, and one of my ladies was sewing on a journey. She had her own machine, and I had it on pivot because that's how I sew. That's the way everybody should sew, right? And she said to me, I don't like this machine lifting up like that. Can you stop it? And I said, oh, of course. I said, I'll just turn it off. I said, I thought you'd like that because I said, even though the foot comes up, the needle stays down, so the fabric doesn't go anywhere. So right after I took it off, she realized that for the type of sewing we were doing, it was nice to have that pivot. And so she told me,
talking in the mic.
okay.
The battery must have just died.
Is the battery going down?
Yeah.
Okay, it probably is. You can't. I am talking into the mic. They'll put a new battery in for me. So, P.S. She put the pivot back on right after I took it off because she realized she did like it. All right, so while Mark's changing that, I am going to cut, and so I'm just cutting this on the line. Am I on the camera? Yes. I'm going to cut it on the line, and the nice thing about these pocket scissors is I can get right down to that little cross stitch without snipping through my thread. Okay? And by keeping your seam allowance tiny like this, you don't need to add any little notches. How's that? Is that good? All right. Thank you, Mark. So I'm cutting this. But I absolutely love these scallop rulers, and I use them. You probably noticed a lot of my other samples went around and had scallops on them, right? And this is how I do them. Last summer, when I went to the baby lock training, I had taken a little linen dress that I had. I was experimenting because I wanted to do this to a little black dress that I was going to wear to my nephew's wedding. So I thought I'd better test it on another dress first. So I had this linen dress that had been hanging in my closet for maybe 10 years. I hadn't touched it. It was a little too long. So I decided to shorten it, and I put the scallop hem on it. It's so cute. I've gotten so many compliments on it. The funny part was my best friend, Betty, who was at the training with me, she had made a dress in the same color linen. Mine was linen, but my linen was embroidered. She was in the same watermelon colored linen, but she made her dress from scratch, and she put a scallop hem on it. And so we wore them the same day. It was cute. It was like we planned it. We had these sort of matching dresses. So we'll have to come up with something this year when we go back. We're going to go back for training. We're training in July. Believe it or not, even sewing teachers like to go for training because we need to get new stuff too, right? We like to take classes just like you all. I like just being someone sitting in the back of the classroom soaking it all in. It's just fun. Right, Sue? Where's Sue? I said right?
I never get trained. I was just talking.
What I said to them was, it's for as sewing educators, we have a lot of fun attending class, just learning and soaking in new stuff.
When do you attend class?
I'm actually going to Baby Lock training in Fenton in July.
I'm working.
I'm taking some time off in July. I've been kind of busy, so I'm taking some time off. Okay. Yes.
Question. On your scallops, you did 2 rows of stitching. You just cut very close to the first stitching line, correct?
I basically cut on the marking line. Oh, I'm sorry.
It wasn't stitched twice, it just marked.
It was just, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It wasn't stitched twice. One mark was the marking line. Okay, I'm going to just open this up because I want to use this. I don't have this pusher with me. This is the pusher that comes with the small set, and it's a double-ended. So the next thing I'm going to do, we're going to press this. I'm going to use how many of you use the friction pen? Raise your hand if you use the friction pen. Oh, cool. Do you love it? Do you know what else it's really good for? Taking creases out. Did you know that? Oh, let me show you. So what I do is I like to use the friction pen because this softens the fiber. Not so much on the points, but on the curves, it really works nice. What's in it? You fill it with water.
It's the folding for that.
What did I say? Friction pen. Fabric folding pen. I'm sorry. My ADD medicine's wearing off. I'm sorry. Fabric folding pen. How many use the fabric folding pen? Okay, cool. And you fill it up to the line with water, and then you put 5 drops of the solution that comes with it. And it softens your fibers, and it's really good for doing applique or folding fabric over, but it also will take permanent creases out. And I'll show you that in a minute. So now I'm going to turn this right side out. Turn it right side out. And these little scallops, these can be pretty tough, right? So that's why I pick a little size here. And I'm going to do the points. This is going to be a really cute little piece of trim. Fabric folding pen. And they're on the wall right over there next to the lady in the embroidered denim jacket. That's right there, right over there. It will take the hem mark out. As long as it's not, like, worn, it will take the hem mark out, yes. Yep. Pretty cool, huh? You know how it is when you press something in permanently, you can never get that line out? Yeah, well, this will get it out. So, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with this. This is the point pusher. So I'm going to use this to push these points out. Okay? I need to get this chair out of the way here and get my cord. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's the points. I know this iron's in your way, but you can see on the screen, right? And I know I'm not supposed to stand this iron up. It's just a bad habit. I do love this iron. There we go. I'll leave it down. It's neither. It's Teflon, so you can iron right on it. Yep. It's called the Mini Point Pusher. It's also awesome for doing mitering, which we're going to do in a little bit. And then to do this side, I'm going to use that point pusher. The scallop pusher. So you see how hard it is to get nice scallops. Look at this. I just push this out. Right? Look at that. And now I iron it. See how pretty that is? Look how nice it is. Pretty cool, huh?
And you didn't have to burn your fingers.
And I didn't have to burn my fingers.
How do you join 2 lengths?
You don't join it. You just take the template and you just keep tracing.
So you start with your fabric.
Yeah, you piece your fabric to the size that you want it, and then you just keep, yeah. Okay? The one I'm using right now is 3/4 inch scallop with the 1 inch point. It's the mini set, yes. It's the bigger size of the mini set. And in my Cheaper by the Dozen book, I used the 3 bigger ones. Minis weren't out yet, or the points. And if you ever get a chance to take a seminar with Janet or see her at a show, she is funnier than a rubber crutch. She's like me, another menopausal woman, middle-aged with ADD, like a hummingbird on crack. Isn't that fun? Look at how cool that is.
Now put it back in.
I need to repress this one, I think, a little bit. I either sewed it crooked or I pressed it crooked.
Never sewed crooked.
Oh, I sew crooked. Even a baby lock doesn't make my sewing perfect. I would say, that's why I do home deck sewing. Where else can a mediocre sewer like me make a living, right? There you go. Ta-da! Isn't that cool? Of course, if I had used the scallop ruler on both sides, you'd see scallops on both sides or points, either way. Okay? Isn't that fun? And that is this. So this is the mini scallop set that I used right here. I'm sorry, right in front of the camera here. That's the set that I used the pusher from, right there. And the pusher comes with it. And this pusher is double-ended, so it comes, there's 2 pieces there. All right? Okay. The triangle is a different ruler. It's a different ruler. It's a point ruler. It looks like this. I combine them. Yeah, I'll pass these around. These are the point pieces. Okay? These 2 go together. Isn't that fun? If you folks would like a hands-on class, a few people asked me during the break, where do you teach your hands-on classes? I can come back and do a hands-on class, but when you do a hands-on class, it's going to be quite a bit more expensive because we have to limit the number of people because we can only do maybe 15, 20 people, whatever there's room for. But if you would like that, just let the girls know, let Janice know, hey, have Pam do a hands-on class next time, and we'll come back and do it. Okay? I could come back and do a 3-day seminar, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that. I don't know why Janice complained about you girls, because you're really nice. I'm teasing. Okay. So this is my new hot seller. This wallet pattern, I'm telling you, we can almost not get these in fast enough. I had 2... We didn't send as much product here as we wanted to because we had 2 great big events, one right before Easter and one last week that I had to send stuff out. So when I came to send stuff out for here, we just couldn't get it in fast enough. We now have all of the wallet clasp in the 3 colors. We have them in stock now. So if you did not get one of the wallet clasps, and these are the 3 colors, the silver, the black, and the gold. If you did not get the color that you wanted or they're sold out because they're gone, we can get these to you. We have them in stock now, okay? Actually, the silver, say Thursday? The silver's coming in today. These came in, this one came in the end of last week, and this came in the middle of last week. So we have all these now, okay? So we can get these to you. So you just need to let Janice know that you want those, all right? This is a really fun project. One of the things that I'm designing is a bag with a concealed weapon. Okay. Because, believe it or not, I've had a lot of people ask me to design a bag that had a concealed weapon. Now, in upstate New York, we don't conceal our weapons. We just put our shotgun in the back of our pickup truck and we go. We don't care. We don't have to hide them. Okay? So, I want to just give you a few steps about this. This pattern has been just really, really popular. So I'm going to just show you a little bit about how we do this. When I first started with this pattern, I'm looking for my Teflon sheet here. Here it is. I got it. when we first started with this wallet, this is the wallet pattern. Can you grab one, Sue, so we can pass it around? It's called the Quick Clutch Wallet. I started out, I really liked that hardware, and I wanted to do my own pattern. For one thing, I saw there were some patterns that were on the market, and they were very nice. Don't get me wrong. Yes, quite a question? Okay, so in developing the pattern, when I started with the pattern, I was working on it, and I thought, man, it would be so nice if I had a ruler this size that I could just cut around the outside of the ruler. That would make cutting it super fast, right? And I thought, well, maybe I have a ruler that's about that size. So I looked in my stash of rulers, and I had one that was the right size. It was somebody else's ruler, but, it was mine. I cut it up. One that somebody else designed. So I took the ruler, and I used it to cut the body of my wallet out. I just need to cut this so it doesn't keep sliding all over here. So anyway, yeah, I don't want to cut the Teflon paper. I'll try not to. Anyway, so I thought, well, okay, this is pretty cool. Then I'm just going to take my Sharpie, and I'm going to put a line right here to cut this pocket. And then I said, I'm going to put a line right here to cut this pocket. And then after the second line, I thought, I just need to make my own ruler. So I decided the best way to make this pattern, because when you do anything like this that's precision cut, cutting it is half the battle, right? If you can cut it fast and quick and efficiently and perfect, then you're going to sew it perfect, right? And it's so much easier to cut when you've got a precision cutting instrument. So that's why I did this ruler. So first thing I did was I wanted to quilt this, okay? So in quilting it, I had a problem because every time I tried to quilt it, the fabric would shift. So I went on my wall and I said, what do I have that's going to really bond this well? Well, I had this fusing pattern for about 8 years that I'd never looked at. Yeah, you got it at the expo probably, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is the stuff they use to patch holes. Yes. So I said, okay, I'm going to try this. And the first time I used it, I had a sewgasm. I was, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I actually called the president of the company and said to her, Beryl, I said, I owe you the biggest apology. She said, for what? I said, because I never realized how really amazing your powder was. I said, I know it's really good for patching holes, which I don't mend, okay? Okay. The way that I mend is my husband gives me something to mend, and I put it in a basket and say, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And then when he forgets about it, I throw it away. After 28 years, he's figured it out. He doesn't even give it to me anymore. He used to come to me with a shirt, and he'd say, honey, can you mend the elbow in this shirt? There was no elbow left. The only thing holding the sleeve on was the seam. I said, nope. Stitching time saves 9. If you can't bring it to me when it's just a little hole, then you're not getting it mended. So I put some of this on. I sprinkled it generously, and I'm going to put the template over the top. I mean, the pressing cloth. And I'm going to press it down. And this stuff bonds so well. So I called her. I said, I am so sorry. I never realized how absolutely fabulous that powder was. And she was just so excited. And she goes, oh, and you can use it for this, and you can use it for that. And she goes, and you're a quilter, aren't you? And I said, yeah, recovering quilter. She said, Pam, this is the perfect stuff for basting your quilts. I mean, really. She said you sprinkle it just lightly, and you iron your batting, and it's perfect for basting quilts. And it is. I did some baby quilts recently, and it was really cool. Yeah. Yes. I use steam. Yeah. So now that's on there, and that's not going to come off. Okay? But like I said, it's also really good for... Oh, I just decided the board, I guess. It's also... Janice isn't looking, is she? But this is a fiberglass sheet that's got Teflon on it, and because it's fiberglass, it lets the steam go through it. Okay? Name of what? It's called Bone Ash Fuse It Powder, and it's right there. Vanna, show them what they get. So you're going to miss me tomorrow afternoon when I leave.
I know.
It's like, don't we make a good team? Yes. No, it does not gum up your needle when you sew. Plus, you can use it to make any fabric fusible. So if you do applique, you can sprinkle on your fabric. Use your pressing sheet. It'll stick to your fabric, and then you cut out your designs, and you can applique them on. It's so cool. I'm like you. Oh, my zippers? Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to use the pressing sheet, but after the third or fourth time you clean your iron, you'll wish you did. Yeah. You need a lot of heat, and as careful as you are, you will get some on the iron if you don't use the pressing sheet. Okay? You could try. See if it works. Okay, so now I've just traced my square because I'm going to cut that out, right? But before I cut it, I'm going to quilt it. So then I take this line, I put this diagonal line right on the edge of my line that I marked, and I draw a diagonal line. Then I'm going to just continue that. And then I use this line right here for my quilting lines, and I just mark my quilting lines. And you can quilt it with like a nice decorative thread. Sue, let's show them the one you made. Sue made one, and all she did is she did it on her serger with her chain stitch. Oh, she's saving it for tomorrow. Okay. But Sue made one. It's really pretty. It's really pretty.
I'll show it off.
Yeah, show it to them. It's pretty. I love it.
I put it away.
Oh, you put it away?
They have to come back for me.
You got to come back for Miss Sue. Because she's going to wow you with more stuff. The template gives you directions. There's a disc with 9 pages of instructions. Okay? And it's just a PDF, so you can print it out, or you can just read it off your computer or your iPad. Okay? And so I just marked this, and then I'm going to machine quilt it. And after I get done quilting it, I'm going to, and then I would just mark these lines going up, same way. So you'd mark all your quilting lines, and then you're ready to go. Okay? Okay, so after I quilt it, then I sew the pockets, and I put it together. This is the zipper placket. The zipper placket is just made like a big old bound buttonhole. The instructions for that are in the directions, and the zipper box that you cut out, that mark is on there. This is zipper box. If you're going to do the small wallet, okay, folks, these small frames come in silver and in gold. Okay? It's a brush gold. Now, I don't have any packaging for these. Okay, so right now if you wanted them, you'd just get the frame in a Ziploc baggie with the screws. That's because we haven't done the packaging. But the instructions on the disc, and there's pink lines, there's instructions on the disc on how to make this wallet here too. So you can make it this size, or if you want to make a bag, you can cut it 4 inches deeper and do this one. Did you all see these? I'll pass them around. You to look at.
The small one don't have packaging.
The small one we don't have packaging, but if you don't mind, because see, if you, you look at all of my products. After I get a product, I have to make the samples. I have to take pictures of the samples. I have to write all the text. I have to send it to my graphic designer. She designs the packaging. She designs 2 or 3, and she sends them back. I pick the one I want, or maybe I don't like any of them, and we tweak it, whatever. But once we finalize that, then it has to go to the printer. They have to print the packaging out. Then it's got to come back to us, and then we have to put it all together. So all that takes time. I just got those frames about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. So I haven't been home enough to do the packaging on that. Okay? I got home on late. Oh, no, I got home. It was Easter weekend. Was it Easter weekend? I don't remember. I got home like on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning. I don't remember. And I was leaving the next Monday, and I just had one day at home, and I made a wallet because
An hour and a quarter.
It takes them. Yeah, you can make them in under 2 hours easy. Yeah, they don't take long at all. Okay. Okay. So to do the zipper insertion, all I did was I sewed a box. It was marked on my ruler. I sewed a box. Then I cut the box, and what I do is I cut a little fabric out in between, so there's a little bit of a gap. And I cut a Y at each end and snip all the way to the corner. And then I trim this all right side out. It is a bound buttonhole, exactly. And then this gets a little pleat in it, and it just gets folded like that, and that's my zipper placket. Would you like to see how I put a zipper in that? Yes. Okay, we'll put a zipper in. I'm just going to pin this over here a little bit. Huh? Will I come home with you? Hey, I can be had for a price. I'm cute, but I'm not cheap. And ask Janice. You got to feed me too. Okay, so now I'm gonna. Unlike the first time where we sewed the zipper in, we're gonna have to put the slide on. Okay. I got one. That's okay. I've got one in my hand. I put the slide on. Now I know a lot of you folks bought the zippers, so if you forget how to put the zipper on, if you go to YouTube and you just search Pam Damour zippers, it'll come up. Okay. But also, too, Brad is putting on YouTube our classes for today, so you'll have that too. Isn't that cool? All right, I switch feet to the narrow zipper foot. Love, love, love this foot. This is the foot that I use to sew that jumbo welt. Do you use that foot too? No? Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Saturday.
But that's for the serger. No,
So on my sewing machine. I embroider on my
okay. Okay. I wish I were staying for Saturday. If I didn't have to go to a wedding, I'd stay. I'm telling you that right now. You girls are lucky to have 2 days of Sue. Okay, so I'm centering the zipper over the teeth. She came up all the way from beautiful sunny Florida.
Yeah.
To beautiful sunny Maryland, yeah.
It's cooler here than it is at home.
I've got a busy weekend planned of going to a wedding on Saturday. Sunday, we are going to Canada to get our plants, because that's where we get all of our garden plants. It's not a big deal to go to Canada, just so you know. It's only about 15 minutes away. It's the closest nursery. Okay, I'm sewing right across the end. And then I'm pivoting, and I'm going to stitch in the ditch.
I do love this new foot.
It is a cool foot, isn't it?
It's a narrow.
Oh,
Really narrow.
I'm not paying attention. My zipper's going out of the way.
The one that used to come with it it's kind of fat. It's skinny.
Yes, it's a really nice foot. It's very. I don't know where my seam ripper went.
And it's skinny all the way back. Oh, okay.
Yes.
You have to have the zipper foot.
It is an awesome foot.
Does it come in the machine?
I already told them I'm not showing them anything that comes with the machine because I got those feet. Okay, so we're going to sew the zipper box, and I'm going to line the zipper centered over the teeth. Okay, now I'm getting close to the slide. I'm going to move the slide back to the other end. Just centering. This is like what I call part of my peek and sew. And this is also how I do the zippers in that outside zipper pocket that's in that expandable zipper bag. Okay? Which a lot of you have that pattern. And it's also how I do my zippers, the outside zippers on my other wallets. And I probably should have used a different color thread, but this is just a sample. Push that slide back to the other side and sew it down. And we're done. Okay? I did a really terrible job sewing that, but I do that on purpose so that you can see that I'm not always perfect. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My husband always says a stuck-to lie is as good as the truth. Okay. Next thing I want to show you is, did any of you notice how my pillows, when they're stuffed, they all look square? Or when they're not stuffed, the edges look like they're curved? Did anyone notice that? Yeah. It's because when you cut a pillow, you do not cut it square. Did you all know that? Okay. What you do is you have to taper the corners so that it looks square after you stuff it. And the reason why is this. when you look at a pillow, and look at this, see how nice and straight the edges are? When you look at a pillow sideways like this is fatter, right? And this is skinnier. Now, we all know that when we gain weight, what happens to our clothes? They get shorter, right? You know, when you have jeans that are perfect and you gain a few pounds and then they're too short, right? You lose weight and they get longer. Well, if you lose weight, I don't think I ever have, but I know. So anyway, so the way that I cut my pillows is this. I'm going to take this out of here. Mark, can you see where you are right there? Can you see me? Can you see that? Is it? I'm going to put this underneath. All right, so what I do is I use the this template. I line up the center of the fabric of where I want to center it, and then I mark with my pen, and I mark on the blue line, because the blue line has the tapers. So I mark, then I pivot 90 degrees, so that this mark now lines up with the last mark. Mark, and pivot. Make sense? And then you just keep pivoting. You pivot 3 times, and you have your whole pillow cut out. And I'll show you one that's already cut out, what it looks like. This is the shape that was before I cut it. Okay? And you saw, I'm going to pass it around. And you can tell when the pillow's stuffed, it looks nice and square, right? So I'm going to restuff it here. People tend to say, you need to make your pillow a little smaller so that the pillow form fills it out. If you cut it like this, you don't need to do that, especially if you use a good pillow form or you use the puffin stuff. This is a down feather pillow form here. Yes? Yes, question? Yep. Well, it depends. Sometimes the envelope pulls out, okay? But there's 2 ways of doing it. You can stitch down that flap. If you can't do the flap so it doesn't stick out, I would stitch down the flap and put a zipper in the bottom edge. Okay? There is a trick to making an envelope pillow, and I think I have one here. Or maybe not. Let me see. I don't think I brought one. But in my Pillow Talk book, there is a trick for doing an envelope pillow to get the envelope so it doesn't pucker, so it will lie flat. And the pattern's in here, okay? This book also is not available anymore, but we do have a few. They're on top of the copier right there, laying on the copier. This is my Pillow Talk book. I wrote this with Katie Bartz, and this is a really cool book. It's got all kinds of great, I think 18 different pillow projects, over $200 worth of embroidery, 2 monogram collections, some really cool embroidery designs. Okay. All right, so that's how we cut. Do you want me to pass it? Oh, plus, with this, you can do squares. So, Mark, can I put this over here so they can just see this right here? This is, the directions are right on it. It says to cut a pillow, seam allowances are included. If you want a square, seam allowances are not included. And if you want to cut a circle, seam allowances are not included. So you use all these marks to cut what you want to do. If you were doing a circle, you just use it like a compass and spin it around. Okay? You can do squares, pillows, and circles up to 36 inches. Okay? Made in Wisconsin. Yay! It's called the Ultimate Pillow Template on your place list. All right? What's one of the fun things about being able to make circles? You can make round napkins, right? And why are round napkins so cool? You never need to make a corner. Right? Right? Okay, so here's how I do my round napkins. I take 2 squares of fabric. I spray the wrong side with KK2000 or 505, one of those temporary basting sprays. Okay, you with me so far? I put one on square, or on straight grain, and one on point, and stick them together. Everyone with me so far? The reason why I do that is when you have one on point and one on grain, when one's on the bias, the other one's on the straight grain and vice versa, so they stabilize each other, so you don't get any wavy edges. Okay? So I use that template. I trace my circle out. Then I snip into the circle line, and I snip down just a little bit so I can get it in my serger. Set up my serger for rolled edge, and just run it and cut it and sew it all in one step. And now I have a round napkin, which is really pretty. You can take these napkins and you can just stick them in a glass like that, or you can fold them. I do the Christmas tree fold. Can you see me there, Mr. Mark? Okay, so I fold it not quite in half, and then I accordion fold it. And then you've got the Christmas tree fold. This napkin, I think it's 18 inches or thereabouts. I usually do them about 18 inches, okay? How do I end it up with this? I just overlap it, and then I take a darning needle and pull it inside. But sometimes if you need to cut it, I use fray block, okay, because fray block dries soft and fray check dries hard. But I'm sure that Sue is going to show you all kinds of cool serger stuff tomorrow. Aren't you, Sue?
Not tomorrow.
I mean the next day.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow. Next day. Not tomorrow. Okay. Miters. Miters. I'm looking here. Oh, this is what I want for here. How many of you take classes on Craftsy? Oh, quite a few of you. Okay, so these are some samples from my Craftsy class. There's some miters here. I'll pass these around. This is one pillow. This is another one. These are my daughter's initials, LD. But her roommate's name is Danny, too, so that kind of, I thought maybe someday I'd give them these pillows, but who knows? I don't know. At some point I'll give them to them. Even if my daughter gets both of them, her initials will still be LD unless she changes her name when she gets married. Here, this is a placemat with mitered corners. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to do this mitered corner. These pillows have mitered banding, and I'm going to show you how to do mitered banding. Okay? I'm also going to show you how to do a mitered flange. So here's a mitered flange. Okay? You'll notice inside these pillows, if you look inside, I back the fabric with a Dreamweave fusible. Okay? When I embroider on silk, I always back it with this fusible stuff, Dreamweave. Okay? It's really great stuff for that. Sometimes I'll even do like a couple layers, like this one. This pillow, I think I did 2 layers of Dreamweave on this because I have a heavy fabric in the back. I think I doubled this. Yeah, this has got like 2 layers of Dreamweave. Okay? So I use that to this is another one. Okay? It's an iron-on. Yes, it is an iron-on. And it works great. Okay? It is a Floriani product, yes. Here's another pillow with double flange, and these are also still mitered corners. And you remember that valance I passed around earlier that had the mitered corners? Yeah, with the lining. Okay. All right, so we're going to do some of those. Okie dokie. I need to bring this up. I'm going to... Most of this stuff I'm showing you is from DVD 110, Magic Miters, Hems, and More. Okay? So if you, yes. That is actually cut on the bias. Okay, what I did is I cut fabric on the bias and then I embroidered it. And then I did the bias, then I mitered it. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press a 2-inch hem. And I usually measure this because I want to make sure it's accurate. So that's why I had my ruler out. Remember earlier I was showing you this ruler as a trimming tool. It's also a mitering tool. There are other trimming tools on the market, but they're not rulers and they don't miter. Is anyone wondering why my ruler is only 4 by 8? Yes. What? Does anyone know why it's 4 by 8? No. Can anyone guess? I'll give you a hint. It's called the Home Deck Ruler. Anyone take a guess? Huh? Size of what? That's right. Drapery hems are folded up 8 inches and under 4. Yep. That's why it's 4 by 8. So you can use it as a hemming tool also. Like I said, a lot of thought went into that. And it's made in Wisconsin, where they have the world's second best cheese. Well, New York, of course. New York has amazing cheese. Amazing cheese. Okay, I'm going to unfold each side one time. Wrong ruler. I folded it twice, and now I'm going to unfold it. I'm going to use heavy-duty permanent marker here so that you can see how to see the lines, okay? Now I'm going to take the 45-degree line right here and put it right along this fold. I'm going to put my pen right here, and I'm just going to slide that up till it bumps to my pen. So what we're looking at is this line goes right across the corner here, and this line is right along the edge of the project. Does that make sense? There we go. We're going to fold it back onto itself like this, right sides together. Now I do a lot of techniques classes. So if you'd like a class, like a lot of these techniques that I show you are in my techniques classes. If you wanted me to do a hands-on class, even if you don't want to make a project, we can do techniques. And the fun thing about that is nobody goes home with an unfinished project. And if we get done everything that I brought early, then I give you dessert. Okay? Pinned in here and pinned out here. And it's not brownies. My dessert is another sewing technique. Isn't that fun? Yes, it's low calorie. So I start sewing about 1/4 inch down because I don't want my thread tail in the crack of my miter. So keep the thread out of your crack. And now I'm going to backstitch. We're going to trim that at the 1/2 inch seam allowance. Snip that corner down to miter that. Where's that fabric folding pin? Here it is. Just put a little drop of fabric folding pin on there. Oh, I didn't show you how it took out creases. I need to do that. Open that up. Turn it right side out. Take that point pusher, which I like better than the regular pushers because it's not overly sharp and I don't poke my fabric out. Isn't that a beautiful corner? But wait, there's more. So I'm just going to cut this off and I'm going to do another corner. Pass this around. Yes. I inserted it as I put it in. Yep. Yep. And that's micro welds. Okay, so I'm going to want to take out one of these crease lines. Let me get it really sharp, and then I'll show you how to take it out. You know how hard it is once you press a crease into something to get it out, right? Let's get this. So here I am. I'm going to try to press it out. Can you still see that crease there? Okay, because I can see it too. I didn't know if you could see it on camera. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit of this right in the middle. Okay? I'm going to press it again. Fabric folding pen. It's great for applique. It's great for all kinds of, like, if you want to press things over. Oh, let's lay it here. Okay, can you see in the middle there where the line's gone? Isn't that wild? It's pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to press this back. I'm going to do a mitered corner here with a lining. All right, before we're done, I have little slips here. I'm going to do my own door prize, and I'm going to give away 1 year subscription to my webinars. It's a $300 package. Just give me your name and your email. If you're interested in a hands-on class, just put that underneath. Say, let me know which class, because then I'll talk to Janice and say, look, we had 50 people that want techniques, or we have 50 people that wanted Roman shades, or wanted a valance class, or wanted a retreat. Just let me know what you'd like to see for a class. Okay? And okay, so I've folded each side one time. Okay? And now I'm going to, folks, let's keep it quiet, please. And now I'm going to draw the corner here. I'm going to draw right across the corner. I unfolded it, and I'm going to draw right across the corner, just like I did before. All right, and I'm going to draw right where the seam allowance is on each side. And now I need to grab another piece of fabric that will be my lining. What else have I got back here of my stuff? Yeah, I'll use this one. It's just a different fabric, but this will be my lining. And so on my wrong side, I'm going to draw my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now, this is the cool part, okay? I'm going to, with these two lines crisscross, I'm going to pin this. Looks like I didn't measure that real good. Let me draw that line a little better. It's not quite even, I don't think. There we go. My ruler must have skated a little bit.
It's afternoon.
It's afternoon. I didn't have any wine at lunch today, so I'm a little off my game. I'm going to pin right here with these two lines crisscross. One of my best friends, her husband is dying right now. He has some weird disease where his brain is literally rotting. It's not Alzheimer's. It's much more aggressive than that. Okay, I'm going to start right in this one spot here, and I want to back stitch, but I don't want to go back. I don't want to back up past that. So I'm real careful here not to back up past that. So anyway, my friends emailed me yesterday or texted me yesterday and said, do you know anyone, would you be willing to make a t-shirt quilt? I want to make one out of Jack's quilts before all of his quilts get ruined, because he's in a nursing home now and he can't feed himself. And it just breaks my heart. And I said to her, well, normally I'd say no, but for you, absolutely. So now I'm going to pin here and come out in the air and back to this other side. Yep. But I told her in order for me to make the quilt, she had to come over and stay overnight, and we would do it together. And she said, I'm a terrible sewer, but I can open wine. I said, okay. Works for me. Okay. Back stitch, and there we go. And now I have what I call the mitering finger puppet. So now I'm just going to fold that onto itself like that, and sew right across that line. And this is how I did that valance, that little handkerchief valance, or little, with the little points. Okay, now I'm going to come into here and snip. I don't like to press this down flat because I don't want to put a reverse crease in there. So I usually just do a little pressing right on my hand just to kind of get that seam opened up a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it right side out and take that point pusher and push that in. So there's a corner with an accent fabric in the lining there. Okay, so this would be the lining. Isn't that cool? This is in DVD 110, Magic Miter Sends and More. 110, it's the turquoise one. There's a lot of them there, so if you want one, raise your hand, because I bet you Sue would be happy to bring you over one. You mean the packet that comes with the templates? No. No, because this is mitering. The ones that come with the templates are just for window treatments. That's the miter one. You know, a lot of people are, and we could do an all-day class just on miters. In fact, if we did a retreat, we could do an all-day class on miters. We could do an all-day class on zippers, and we could do an all-day class on cording and ruffles and ruching. Okay. Okay, mitered binding or banding. That's, you know, that embroidered banding that went around. This is how I do that, and I have a. I don't know if this is going to be too big or not, but I'm going to try this. This is a bias tape maker. Should work. Yes.
What are the corners that you're doing in that?
So far.
Very good.
Okay, so I'm making bias tape here with a bias tape maker. When we do our all-day class, there's some that we do that are not in the video. Okay? The other thing about the videos, if you look, it's sort of like the hairstyles of Pam throughout the years. Right? I'm in a permanent, like, flux of I hate my hair. Although I kind of like the way I'm wearing it now. Yeah, I do too. My husband doesn't, but who cares? The mortgage is paid off. He's not going anywhere. Okay. I'm going to draw a backwards L on this fabric to show the placement line for my banding. I'm doing mitered banding, which is, you know, that pillow with the embroidery on it? This is kind of how I did that. I put on the edge joining foot, and now I'm going to line this up to the edge, put this down, and move. Beg your pardon? I marked the bottom fabric. Can you see that? Okay. And I move the needle over just enough to catch. And I'm going to stop probably about 2 or 3 inches from the corner. Both right sides up. Wrong side to right side. I'm top stitching it. And I would sew this usually with invisible thread, polyester invisible thread. Okay? Thank you for coming. Oh, you're not leaving? I thought you were. It's okay. It's okay if you were. All right, now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark for my miter. All right? So I just take my ruler, and I just mark where my pivot line is going to be. Now, you'll see that I sewed really super, super close to the edge. That's important, okay? Now I open this up, so that crease right there from the stitching and this press crease should kind of line up. You're going to take your ruler, and you're going to put the point right there. Now, quilting rulers, the 45 line does not go into the corner. That's why I use this ruler, okay? And then I mark that over, like that. Fold it onto itself. Line up those 2 folds. Do I want to start right on the edge? No, because I don't want my thread in my crack, right? Of my miter. Okay. Start down about 1/4 inch. Which ruler? It's the same ruler. It's the home deck ruler. It's the home deck ruler. Yeah, it's the home deck ruler. As I said, it's a trimming tool, it's a hemming tool, and it's a mitering tool, all in one.
And we actually have a few left. Me too. Since I'm standing up.
So now, I'm going to trim this to a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And now I know there's some hardcore quilters in the group, and you want to trim this to a 1/4 inch. Don't do it. You'll get a flatter miter if you trim it to a 1/2 inch, okay? Did you hear me? Yes. All right. Why what? Why is it flatter? Because you can press it open easier. It's not lumpy. What are we out of?
Magic miter tape.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I have tons of them at home. Okay, so there is our mitered banding. What do you think? Isn't that cool? Pretty cool, right? And then I would continue sewing with my needle just bumped over a little bit. I'm not going to stitch this down all the way because I know that y'all want to open it up and look at it, okay? So I'm not going to stitch it down all the way. If I were going to stitch on this side, what feature would I use on my sewing machine? That mirror image, right? Okay, start passing up your slips. We've got about 7 more minutes. You didn't get them? Did we run out? Can you pass slips up? Your name and your email and in any class you'd like me to come back and teach, okay? Okay, I'm going to do another miter while we're doing that. I'm looking for some fabric here. We got a piece of fabric right here. I'm going to do the mitered flange because that is the hardest, I think, of all the miters. Okay? And that was on that pillow with the navy blue flange. We'll put these in here. Do you mind collecting these for me since you're up? Yeah. What's your name? Loretta is coming around. If you want to give Loretta these, she's going to put them in my bag. Okay, so, folks, let's keep it quiet. I got one more thing to show you, and then I'm going to let you go home, okay? We've got about 6 more minutes. We're going to do a mitered flange. That's the hardest of all the miters, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this down, 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to stop about maybe 4 to 6 inches from the corner. And cut the thread. On the back side of my project, I need to trim that up just a little bit so it's a little more square here.
They're not going to let you sit down very much.
Poor Loretta, I'm sorry. She's like...
Right. Anybody else?
So what I'm doing is I'm marking my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay? Did we get all the slips now? Okay.
No, wait a minute.
That's okay, Sue can get it. Okay, 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to put a pin right through that line with the 2 lines crisscross, the intersection. And then right through here, right through the intersection. So there's 2 pins. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take the pen, and I'm going to mark, and can you see that with my hand in the way? I'm going to mark the pin on each side. Okay? And then I'm going to take my ruler with that crease right down the middle, and I'm going to slide it until the edges of the ruler touch the dots. Are you with me so far? Okay. And I'm going to draw that line. And I don't draw all the way to the end of the fabric. I stop at the dot. Okay, that's real important. All right? Because if you draw past the dot, you will sew past the dot, and you don't want to sew past the dot. Okay? We're going to line this up. Needle back in the middle. I'm going to put my open toe foot on. Okay. And I'm going to start sewing right in the dot. Whoops, wrong foot here. Get to the point. Pivot. Get to that dot and then back it up. Everybody's with me so far, right? Okay. I could do one stitch across the end. I didn't, but you could. Now I'm going to open this up. I press on my finger just for a little bit. Press on my finger just a little bit. And when you turn this right side out and poke it out, you're going to think, OMG, I did it backwards. Because when you lay this down, it's going to go the opposite way of your corner. But that's the correct way. Okay? So when you see that, just say, oh yeah, that's the part Pam told me about. Yep, that's okay. We're good. So now we're going to sew this until we get to the corner. And we're going to do one stitch in the hole, like off that piece. So we're going to go one stitch in the hole right there. Okay? You're going to bring this around, and now this lines up. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And that's how you do a mitered flange. Bump. And there we are. There's my corner.
Everything looks better with you.
Oh yeah, a good iron makes such a difference. It really does. What do you think? Isn't that cool?